So, welcome everyone to another session of Learn Flutter Together. So this is a study group where we gather on every Monday evening to study one or two chapters of the Flutter Apprentice book. So for today, we will be covering the streams. But before we start, again, I want to mention the code of conduct of the event, because Women Who Code is an inclusive community. So we want to make sure that our events provide a good experience for everyone who participate. So if there is any discrimination, we will not tolerate that. And if you witness or experience any of discrimination or harassment, please let us know. You can also report in the Women Who Code website and check out the full code of conduct here. And then, yeah, so for events like this, if you want to follow us and don't want to miss any of the updates, you can follow us on the Facebook page. And we also have Twitter, and for the recordings, we will always upload to the Women Who Code YouTube channel. So I think in a few days, you'll be able to find the recording there. And then here is what we have so far and what will come in the next few weeks. So first of all, I think we have covered quite a lot, and this is the the 7th session, and I will be covering chapter 14. I know that in the event description, I mentioned chapter 15, the second half, but I decided not to include that because I'm really not familiar with the SQLite library. So if you are interested to learn about that, you can check out more on the book. And yeah, so I will just be focusing on the streams today. And in the coming weeks, we have a few more volunteers. Next week, we have Sue, who will be leading on the state management topics. And then on the 13th, we will need someone, maybe you, a volunteer to discuss on the topic deployment, and you can refer to the chapter 16 to 18 in the Flutter Apprentice book. And finally, the final session will be on Firebase on the 20th. And so for the agenda of today, I have already said some welcome notes. So then we will start with a refresh on chapter 10 and 11, which we covered last week. And then we will go into chapter 14. So if you have any question, you can bring up in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, and we can discuss after we have gone through the content of chapter 14. So let me switch to the other page. Let me know if you cannot see my screen, because I'm not sure if it's working properly. So yeah, now you should be able to see the YouTube screen, because since we are talking about stream today, and I find this video very helpful, even though it's talking about the blog. So if you're not familiar with blog is state management library in Flutter. It's a rather popular one that is also one of my favorite. And it uses the concept of stream to manage the data. So if you are interested in blog, you can definitely check out this video. I can paste this link in the chat if you are interested. So what is a stream? So a stream is a sequence of asynchronous data. And you can imagine the stream in Dart as data flowing down a river. So this is the river, and this is the sender, and you have a receiver. So the data are like the boats or the ship. Then when the sender is sending out the ship, it will then the receiver will just wait for the ship to arrive. So this is what stream does. It sends the data events from the sender to the listener to grab the data. And then in that, you can send one data event at a time, while the other parts of your app will listen for those events. And yeah, so when I mention events, then you can imagine like it's the ship that is flowing down. And these events can be collections, maps, or any type of data that you have created. And sometimes there will be error. So streams can also send error in addition to data. Or if you want to stop sending the data, you can always do that. You don't have to keep the stream going. You can always open the stream and close the stream at any time you like. So this is the basic concept of a stream with the analogy of ship flowing down a river. So hopefully this is easy to understand. And now I will go into more concepts about stream. This time we will look at how stream is defined in Dart. So here I'm taking the example from the blog library documentation. If you're interested, you can also go here. I will again paste the link in the chat. And so this is the simplest example that you can have in Dart when you are creating a stream. So how you do it is you create a function, and this function is called countStream. And then here, what is the type that is returned from this function? It is a stream, and it's a stream with the integer type data. So for the countStream function, it will take in also an integer. And then you have to use the keyword, the async with an asterisk to annotate that this is a stream function. And this is an async generator. So in this function, what do we do? So it's a for loop, and then it will loop from 0 until the max that you pass into the function. And then it will keep using the value of the I. So what does this keyword do? When you mark this function with the async keyword, with the asterisk, then you will be able to use the yield keyword so that you can return a stream of data. So the stream of data that we are returning here is a stream of integers from 0 up to the max. And yeah, it's a very straightforward way to define a stream. So now we can also look at the other ways to use the stream. So here is an example of a function that takes in a stream and returns a future of integer. So what does this function do? So this SumStream function, it takes in the stream, and then it will calculate, it will use the await to wait for the stream value. And then for each of that, it will add to the sum, which was initially 0. So you can imagine the stream above, like if it's taking in this stream, then it will, this value will go from 0 up to the max value. And then for each value that is received, it will be added to the sum. And finally, when this part is completed, because it's marked with a wait, so it will wait for this function to be executed, then it will return the sum. So this is the future. And you can see that it's pretty straightforward how you can use a stream. You can use it not only in future, you can use it anywhere in your app. And then finally, you have these two functions defined. This is the full example of a Dart application on how you can define, how you can initialize the stream and then use the stream and print out the final sum. So now I hope that with this simple example, you have a basic understanding of how streams work. And now I will go back to the book. Oh, sorry, actually, I forgot to do a refresher on chapter 10 and 11. So maybe I will go back to chapter 10 and let's just do a quick recap of what we have discussed last week. But don't worry, because there is no prerequisites on the materials that we learned last week and this week. So I think it's okay. Okay, so for last week, we discussed chapter 10. And chapter 10, we were discussing the serialization. And we are serializing the JSON. So what is JSON? JSON is an open standard format that is commonly used, especially in REST APIs. And serialization is very important because you will need to parse the JSON code that you receive from your REST API into the data objects in your app so that you can work with it in Dart. And you also learn a few ways to parse the JSON code. You learn how to convert to JSON and from JSON. And you can always use a package to generate the parsing code for you. So last week we have explored some packages. One is the JSON Serializable package. And for this one, you will use with the JSON annotation package so that you can mark you can mark your data class so that it will know, okay, it needs to generate the JSON parsing code for you. And there is also another package that you can use, which is the freeze package. So that one will do the same thing. I think that one is even more powerful. So I would suggest that if you are building an app for general purpose, but you can always explore, give it a try on both packages and see which one you prefer. And then for chapter 11, you know how to use the HTTP package, which is, I'm not sure whether it's a built-in package or you need to import it, but it's a very simple to use package. It contains a set of methods for you to retrieve data and send data to and from the APIs. So then you can use the JSON.decode method to convert the JSON strings into the map of objects. And then this one you can further parse using the serialization method that we have learned. And then there is also the future builder, where you can use to render the information from a future. And of course, apart from this view, you also have grid view if you want to display columns of data. So that's for the chapters that we have discussed last week. Now, let me go back to the stream. So just now you have learned the concept of the stream. And actually there are two types of stream. One is a single subscription stream. And this will be useful when you are only using a particular stream on one screen. But sometimes you want to you want multiple widgets to listen to the same stream, then you would use a broadcast stream. So if you have defined a normal stream, because this is the default one, you can always convert to a broadcast stream easily. I think you can see the code here. So this is how you convert. You just use the single stream that you have already created. Then you call the asBroadcast stream method, and this will return a broadcast stream object. So it's pretty straightforward. And then here you can use the common classes that you will have to know when you are dealing with streams in Dart. So first, you will use a lot of stream controllers, because stream controllers are responsible for creating stream and also for sending data in the stream. So let's look at, have a deeper look at each one. So first, the stream controller. How do you define a stream controller in Dart? So this is how you do it. So you just instantiate a stream controller class, and then you need to define what is the type of object that you want to send in your stream. So in this case, we want to send a list of recipe object. So you just put this recipe here. And then after that, you assign to the recipe stream controller variable. And how you get the stream is you just call the stream attribute, and this will return the stream object. And then if you want to send data in your stream, it's also very easy. Then you will just need to add the data to the sink. So the sink is also located inside the stream controller. So you just have to call the stream controller method that you have just created, and then you will add to the sink. So what are you adding to the sink? You are adding the recipe list. So this one is a list of recipe as defined here. So if you try to add something else that is not a list of recipe, then it will not allow you to do so. It will throw an error. And then once you have done with your stream, you have done sending the data, you don't need your function or widget to listen to your stream anymore. Then make sure that you always remember to close it. So how do you close it? You just call the close method on the stream controller. Okay, so here you have got the basic idea of how you can create a stream, how you can access it, how you can add data to the stream, and how do you close the stream. And now we can move on to the stream subscription, which is to consume on the stream. So when I say consume, it means that you have a function or a widget that is listening on the stream. So how do we create a subscription? So again, it's very easy. You just call the stream that you have already created, and then you call the .listen function. And this, when you define it like this, and you have a print method here, this means that every time the stream receives a new object, then this statement will be printed on your console. And this whole thing, this function is a stream subscription. So again, with the subscription, you can do something about it, like the cancel. So when you are done with the subscription, you want to close it, you can always call the subscription and cancel it. So now you have the subscription, we can look at the stream builder. So stream builder is when you want to use a stream. In this case is when you want to show the data in your UI. So let's see how you can do it. So here, I will define a repository, and this is a provider. I'm not sure we have covered provider in our study group. I don't think so, but don't worry about this. Here, the provider is just to provide the stream function so that we can pass into the stream builder. And then in the stream builder, so this is where you extract the recipe, which is the snapshot that is received from the stream. And then you use this data to build the UI. So with the stream builder, you don't have to first define the subscription and then you have to cancel it when you are done. It's a handy way as an alternative to subscription, especially when you want to use the data to build the UI view. So here it also mentions that compared to the stream subscription, you don't have to call the cancel because it will automatically call it for you when it's done. Or when the widget is destroyed, then it will automatically cancel the subscription. So let's see how do we add it to our recipe app. So in the next section, you will see how do you actually implement it to render the recipe list by using streams. So if you follow the book for a while now, you should have these classes or these files in your repository. So here you have the recipe list that will take in the list of recipes. And then you also have the recipe detail page. This is when you tap on each recipe in the list, then it will show the recipe detail. And for each detail, there is a bookmark button that you can add the recipe to a bookmark. So once it's added, then it will be shown in the bookmark screen. And then, of course, there are also other screens. I think it's not very important now. So we can focus on the recipe list for this chapter. Okay, so now let's see, how do we add the features and stream to the repository? If you are following the previous chapters, you will learn that repository is a place where we put all the codes that is related to fetching the data from different sources. So it can be hard-coded, it can be from device, or it can be a HTTP API. So this repository will be responsible for fetching the information, and then you can use it in your widgets. So now, how do we put it in the repository? So here you can see that, okay, there are quite a few functions that is available. And then you will see that everything here is related to fetching, creating, and modifying the recipe list. And then what do we need to add is the stream after the find all recipes method. So we can just add these two into the repository. So both types are returning a stream, and the first one is returning a list of recipe, and we call it watch all recipes instead of find all recipes, because this one is a feature. That means you call once and then it will return you a feature. But for stream, because the data are sent asynchronously, the receiver will not know when each data will be received. so it will be watched. So it's better to use the name watch for streams. And then same goes to the list of ingredients. You also have another stream that is called watch all ingredients. So this is what it does. I've explained just now. Okay, yeah, so this is just some cleaning up. I will skip this part. And then let's see, how do we define the stream? So first you have the recipe list stream. So inside here, what this will do is, okay, if the existing stream is not available, then you will create one by getting the stream from the controller and then assign it to the recipe stream variable, and then you just return it. Same goes to the ingredients. You also check if there is already one that is available. If not, then you just assign it. There's nothing special here. And then after that, we can look at the memory. So this is the future. This is not the stream. So what do? Is you just return a future with a hard-coded value of current recipes. So this is just a list of recipe. And then, okay, this is not important. So then you have to remember to close the stream for every stream controller that you use. So in the close method, you will put in all the stream that you use in your repository. Make sure that you remember to close them so that you won't have memory leak in your app. And then finally, we can see how do we send the recipes over the stream. So in the first part, we have already learned how do you add the data to the stream by calling the add method in the stream controller's sync property. So again, the same thing here. In your insert recipe method, here you can add a recipe to your list. This is not a stream, this is just a normal list. And then the second part is where the stream come in. So here you can add the list of the recipe to your stream controller's sync, just like this. And then after that, you will call the insert ingredients method just to get the ingredients into the list. Okay. Yeah, I think we have already covered everything in chapter 14, the streams. So I think in the book, there are some exercises that you can do. So if you want to follow through the examples in the book, you can always do this. For those who join the study group for the first time, if you have problem accessing the book, you can let me know. If not, yeah, I think that's the end for today's session. And for chapter 15, actually, that's the original plan to discuss about the SQLite. But actually, after I have watched the video that is covered by Google, so for your information, so the Flutter team, they have also their own study group, but that one is at a very odd timing. But they also have recording in their YouTube, so you can check out their book club here. We are following more or less the same structure as them. So if you're interested about the database part, you can check out this one, I believe. They talk about it in November 10. And what they discuss is not the SQLite, they were discussing about another package called Hive. So if you go to pub.dev, so this is the package repository for Dart. If you search for Hive, then you can see that this is a key value database. So they recommend you to use this NoSQL database instead of the SQLite, because this is much easier to use. And also usually for mobile apps and front end, you don't need a very structured database like SQL. So Hive, it has a lot of features and it is also very easy to use. The documentation is pretty complete, so I highly recommend this one. I will paste this in the chat so that you can have a look. Okay, so that's the stream part. Let's see. I'm not sure whether we want to cover the service part. I think since we have time, we can do so, because this part, I think it touches the chopper, which we didn't cover. Chopper is in chapter 12. So I'm not sure whether I should continue with this. There is also the provider part. Yeah, but we can look at the bookmarks. So here again, it uses the stream builder. So this will call the watch all recipe method that we have created from the stream. And then here in the builder, you will check the status of the snapshot. So this builder is a very convenient way for you to render the view based on the state. So you can always check the connection state, if it's still active, if it's already closed, or if it has error, then you can render your data accordingly. So yes, and then you can also call the watch ingredients stream. You pass it to the stream builder and do the same thing in the builder function. And this will be the final result if you manage to put everything in your code. So you will see a list of recipe in the grid view, and this is obtained by watching on the recipe stream. And if you tap on each of the recipe, you will see the detail page like this, where you will see, okay, how much calorie is there, and there is a bookmark button. When you tap it, it will add to the bookmarks. And then once you tap on the bookmark, if you go to the bookmark screen, you will see the recipe that you have added in the bookmark list. And same goes to the groceries screen. So here you have a list, and this is obtained from the ingredients stream that you are watching. Again, this part is using the stream builder to render the list. Okay, now we can finally summarize what we have learned. So you have learned the basic concept of a stream. So stream is a way that you can send data asynchronously to other parts of your app. You can create a stream yourself, or if in the later chapters, for example, when you're using Firebase, you will also notice that you need to deal with streams, because the service could be sending a stream and you will need the stream subscription or a stream builder to receive the data in your app. And if you want to create a stream, you can always use the stream controller. and then you can add your data to the sink of the stream controller. And finally, you can use the stream builder to add the stream to view the stream of data in your UI. So that's it for chapter 14. If you have any question, you can ask now. You can unmute yourself, or if you want to share your screen, feel free to do so. Okay, looks like it's rather quiet today. So if you still find any problems after the session, you can always send us a message on Facebook. You can follow us on our Facebook page, the Women Who Code. And yes, just let us know if you have any question or you have any feedback or suggestion. We welcome that. And then next week, we will be covering state management, and that will be led by Sue, one of our volunteers. And once again, thank you for joining, and happy learning. Hope to see you guys next week. Bye-bye.